You guys have wanted to hear about this corporate veil, this mysterious thing. What is it and why is it important, Paul? The corporate veil.
The corporate veil, yes. So it's probably the reason why you have a corporation or an LLC. It's because you want to be personally protected from the creditors that may go after your company, right? If something bad happens and people are trying to collect money from you, maybe a supplier says that you owe them $1 million and your company has nowhere near $1 million, you're going to want to have a corporate veil, that's protecting you personally from having that supplier come after you. Or if you're in a product liability lawsuit and they want $30 million because you burned down somebody's house, your product burned down somebody, even if it wasn't your fault. Remember, with strict liability, this is the thing that Amazon sellers just need to understand. When you sell products that are inherently risky, so this is like supplement sellers, if somebody's eating your product, if your product is plugged into a wall, it involves electricity, lithium-ion batteries, you are at risk. Your personal assets are at risk. If something happens, it's going to be your fault. And I'm not saying it's going to be your fault as in you did something wrong. I mean, legally, you're going to be the primary target. Because here's why. Let's say you manufacture a hoverboard in China. And let's say that it catches on fire, somebody's house burns down. The person who got injured is angry and wants to sue. They're going to sue 3 potential people. They're going to sue the manufacturer in China, they're going to sue you, or they're going to sue Amazon. Well, they're probably not going to win against Amazon. Plus, because Amazon fights really hard and will fight to the death and will make all these arguments that they're not even a seller in the transaction, which is nonsense. And I actually spoke with an insurance attorney about this because this is really ticking off the insurance industry right now, that they're just starting to wake up to what we know in sales tax, that Amazon's defense of we're not a seller is kind of nonsense. But for now, it's out there and hasn't been, properly argued. And nonetheless, Amazon has all the money in the world to fight it. So that's not going to work. Then you have the seller in China, the supplier in China. Well, good luck getting any money from them. So who's the prime target in a product liability lawsuit if somebody's house gets burned down? You are. You become the primary target. And that's why asset protection is so important. And that's why it's really important that you have a good corporate structure and do what you can to protect yourself, because if they can break through your corporation and hold you personally liable, that's called piercing the corporate veil. That's breaking through the corporate veil that's supposed to protect you and keep you personally separate from your company. So that's why we do this. That's why, it's good to keep board minutes. It's good to keep your company adequately funded. You don't want it to look like you keep, $2 in your company's bank accounts because you're afraid then they'll say you have an inadequately funded company and they'll go after it. You don't want to mix business and personal because then it looks like your company is just your alter ego and not really a separate and distinct thing. It's great to have more than one shareholder. We like single member LLCs, they're very easy, but from an asset protection standpoint, it's good to have another shareholder that's not your spouse. Even if it's a small share, even if it's a small stake, these things add credibility to your company. And that's what helps protect you from piercing the corporate veil, from having a company going after you and piercing the corporate veil. If you have a LLC set up in New York State and you've got a product liability lawsuit, good luck. And especially if you formed it on some legal website, you're basically setting yourself up for a potential liability. And just another thing about strict liability, because maybe this wasn't clear when I was mentioning this before, the concept of strict liability means it doesn't matter who's actually at fault. Anybody who's capable of paying has to pay. So even if the hoverboard was damaged in Amazon's warehouse or should have, was a return that should have gone back to you and they ended up reselling it, you could still be held liable. The way the law looks at it is then on you to then go after the party who's rightfully wrong. So you're sort of, insurance is called subrogation. You're taking your case, but in terms of who has to pay the injured party, any party capable of paying that can be, sued, it can pay, even if it's not their fault. So if a Coke can blows up in somebody's hand, Walmart could be held accountable to pay, or Coca-Cola could be held accountable to pay. And then whoever pays first, and then it's on them to figure it out later. But the point is, that's why, you can't just say, well, this isn't going to be my fault. It doesn't matter in strict liability. It's a very serious issue. And that's why Amazon sellers, especially if you're selling products that are electronic, something that keeps somebody's baby safe, safety products that people ingest, eat, drink, you really have to be mindful. If you have stuff to lose, you need a good asset protection strategy. You cannot just be going into this blindly and thinking, I have $1 million or $2 million in insurance. There was a hoverboard this is a true case, by the way. A hoverboard burned somebody's house down in, I think it was Kentucky or Tennessee. You can Google it. You can read the case. It was all over the news. But the point is that they wanted 30 million. I don't think anybody got hurt in that case. It was just purely the house being burnt down. 30 million. So if your insurance policy limits are 1 million or 2 million, and you don't have good asset protection strategies, you can pretty much kiss a lot of your assets goodbye because you've just made it really easy for the personal injury lawyer to come after you. So this is easy stuff to do, and anybody with assets to protect who's selling in the space should be doing this. It's a no-brainer, and it's considered like another form of insurance, like we had talked about earlier, bro. It's just kind of like another form of that insurance of things you can do to protect yourself from the unknown.
All right. Well, my mic went out there, but it looks like we're just about ending that. Actually, Paul, do you just want to summarize the best practices? Of course.
So best practices are just, do it right, realize why, work with a lawyer. Listen, you're a busy seller. You've got a business to run like these. I mean, it gets to the point, again, self-serving lawyer here, but I'm not saying hire me. I'm just saying hire counsel, hire help, right? I don't work for the American Lawyers Association or anything of that nature. I'm just saying you need help. You've got a busy business to run. Why are we spending so much time trying to DIY these things when they oftentimes don't work? And so, do it right. Take care of maintain your corporation, maintain your business, have the right asset protection strategy.
Good. Now you guys are aware. You can make a decision for yourself. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any other questions, let us know.